Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. My name is The Real Legend, and we are back with some NBA 2K Mobile. In today's video, we will be breaking down the best players to craft inside of the NBA 2K Mobile Season 3. We will go over each rarity, and we will also go over the current theme. This will include tips for beginners, and this will also help the more veteran, seasoned players understand what players they should be targeting, who will be best for your squad, and ideally, it should help you save time from the grind and not waste your collectibles, alright? So now let's get into the video. Now, for those of you that have never crafted a player, it's very easy, right? You go over to collections, right hand side, you'll hit the second tab, and this will show you the entire card collection inside of NBA 2K Mobile. Then you tap your filters, select craftable, and you will see every single player that can be crafted in the game. Another indicator to know who can be crafted if you didn't want to do a filter is if the player has a hammer underneath their name with a progress bar. That's an indicator that can be crafted too. So we're going to start with the gold rarity. Alright, so the way I determine what players to craft is I take everyone's average and I come up with what's called overall stat average. Based off that overall stat average, I'm able to rank players from the lowest to highest to determine who I should prioritize when crafting players. Now, crafting is super important in this game, especially if you need to start with endorsement rewards or crown packs. You got to be able to craft players when you're stuck, which means you can't progress to the next season. You have to go back and upgrade your current squad, and one of the easiest ways to do that is by crafting players. If you look underneath the name, you'll see rings and conference collectibles. Those are items you can obtain from grinding the seasons and simulating the seasons that you have completed. So when you are stuck, you go back to the season before and keep simulating until you can upgrade your team with that current rarity from the rewards or with rings that you earn from the draft boards and season rewards. But the best gold player to craft would be Kevin Love. One of my favorite power forwards in NBA 2K Mobile Season 2. He's just very effective, gives you a stretch big, and that's really going to help you out, especially when you're playing head-to-head in the beginning, because head-to-head is very three-point friendly, so you got to be able to keep up with your opponent when you're nailing those shots. One of the players that I think is super underrated as far as the stats, right, and that's Al Horford. He's got a 4.2 stat average, which is really high. He's actually one of the tier list players, and he's a center that can shoot, right? He's got a 5 in mid-range and a 5 in three-point and a 5 in post scoring, right? It's really solid. If you look at his playmaking, he has a 4 as well, and everything else is pretty balanced. So don't sleep on Al Horford, but I already know that the most obvious choice of the player to craft for Emerald is LeBron James. And you should totally craft LeBron James unless you have another small forward that's just as comparable. I won't say better because LeBron has the best stats in the game. So if you have a Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, or Jimmy Butler, you'll be okay with those choices. All right, next you got the Sapphires. Then you got DeAndre Ayton, who is another gem in this game, just like Al Horford. His overall stat average is a 4. If you look, he's got a 5 in rebounding, which is very good for a center, right? You want centers to have at least a 5 in rebounding. And everything else is pretty much a 4, right? He's got a 4 in mid-range, which is good. A 4 in post scoring. Like, those are important stats for your centers. And then the best player to craft for Sapphire, another obvious choice. I gotta admit, 2K did hook up the craftable players for this season. There's some really good choices, right? So James Harden should be the player that you should be crafting for Sapphire. His overall stat average is a 4.4, one of the best in the game, super elite. There's really not much I can say about James Harden. We know the beard gets buckets. All right, so for the Ruby players, you got Victor Oladipo, comes in at a 4 overall stat average. Oladipo gets buckets, and he's one of the best defenders in this game. He's got a 5 in defending, which is super strong for a shooting guard, 5 in three-point shot, and a 5 in mid-range shooting. He's not really going to do anything else but get you offense and great defending. He's not a rebounder. He's not the greatest playmaker either. But Oladipo is a good player to craft. And last but not least, we got Mark Jackson, who's a 4.0 overall stat average as well. He came in Season 2 towards the end as a pink diamond. Was a pretty decent point guard. He wasn't like elite or anything, but he was good. He got the job done. And you can see he has some solid stats. He's got a 5 in mid-range, a 5 in three-point shot, a 5 in playmaking, which is important. And he's got that 5 in shoot-off dribble, which is great for your creating opportunities off the pick and roll or being able to cross your opponent up and get a spot-up shot. All right, so now we're on the Amethyst. This is what a lot of people have been waiting for, right? So Manu's fairly new to the game. I haven't done a breakdown for him yet. He's got a 3.6 overall stat average for a legend and one of the best Spurs of all time. His stats could be a little bit higher. Like, I would think maybe his layups and dunks and his three-point shot could get buffed. But aside from that, I know a lot of players are going to craft Manu regardless of what I say in this video. because he's just legend, right? He deserves that, and it'll be cool to check out his gameplay. But stat-wise, I wouldn't go with Manu Ginobili. Now, Kyrie Irving, on the other hand, is one of the most fun players to use in this game. Smooth gameplay, incredible handles, amazing layup package, but his stats just don't support how good he is. And that's why when I do my tier list videos, I go into more of a breakdown and I do incorporate gameplay, right? But since we're talking about crafting players, I have to mention the best ones that need to be crafted. And yes, Kyrie is one of those choices. I do think that some of his stats should be increased, like layups and dunks should go up. Like I said earlier, he has one of the best layup packages in the game. I would even say his post scoring should go up since he is very effective on the baseline, has a very good catch at the elbow and fadeaway that can get buckets easily for you, fades out of bounds. Like, the dude is incredibly talented. He can get a 6 on shoot off dribble. He can get a 6 in mid-range shooting. He can get a 6 in three-point shot. He can get a 6 in agility. Like, Kyrie Irving is that good. And hopefully later on down the road, there will be a stat increase for Kyrie Irving. Now, here's another obvious choice for the Amethyst players. It's got to be Anthony Davis. Hands down, one of the best power forwards in this game. The dude is good in every single category. For the exception of playmaking, a little on the underwhelming side. I wish he would have been a little bit higher. But aside from that, he's still pretty elite. He's got a 4.3 overall stat average, right under Giannis, tied with Karl Malone, one of the best in the game. So those are the Amethysts. Now let's get into the theme and tell you which players you should be trying to craft. All right, now as far as the theme, a little bit tough to tell you who to craft, right? Because it is recommended to make the players that you need to complete the set. Now, if you're not going for the set reward, which is the Bill Walton, then listen to these options here, right? Now, these are players that are really good for their rarity. And you also got to consider the fact that theme players' power is a lot higher than foundation. So these players can serve a purpose for your team a lot longer than you anticipate. All right, you got Ben Simmons, who I think is one of the best point guards in this game. If you're looking at having a pass first point guard, he leaves a lot to desire on the scoring side. He's just very limited, but he can drive to the hole and dunk, right? He's got a 5 in layups and dunks, and he's got a 4 in post scoring. So he's very good with those categories, and he's good on the pick and pop with the mid-range shot. Then you got Allen Iverson, who is the shooter guard I'm using. He will hold you down for a very long time. Iverson's stats are solid, very elite, and his gameplay is even better. He has incredible athleticism, very good jump shot package, really fast, lightning quick, and is a menace in head-to-head. Then David Robinson is one of the best overall centers in this game because of his ability to shoot, and he's so effective in the post, strong rebounder, and an excellent defender. Then we got Derrick Rose, who's super underrated, 4.1 overall stat average. The dude's got a 5 in shoot-off dribble, layups and dunks, mid-range shooting, agility, and playmaking, right? All the important stats that you need for a point guard, he has them. Only thing lacking is a 3-point shot, but with Derrick Rose, you're going to be driving to the lane most of the time. Then you got LeBron James. Anytime you see LeBron, he's a player you need to target, right? He's hands down the best player in the game, 4.9 stat average. He is a building piece, right? He's the foundation for every squad. He should be a small forward whenever you have the opportunity. So that is the breakdown of what players you should be crafting. Be sure to check out my tier list playlist. It gives you great insight of what players to have on your squad and who you should be building your team around. A lot of the player stats are still the same, so it's a great reference point. And also be sure to check out any of my Season 3 content. We got pack openings, and we got a lot of guides that we created towards the end of Season 2 that will help you plan for the season right now. So again, appreciate all the support. Take care.